Hello Butterfly, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into a sensitive topic, the anti-gay law in Uganda. Let's explore this topic together. But before we continue, we would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell icon so you do not miss out on any future LGBTQIA+ content. Uganda's approach to LGBTQ+ rights has garnered international attention due to its notably stringent laws and prevailing homophobic sentiments. This attention is not just about the laws themselves, but also the underlying factors that contribute to such a stance. To fully grasp why Uganda maintains this harsh perspective against the LGBTQ+ community, it is essential to explore the historical, cultural, socio-political, and economic influences shaping these views. This video aims to dissect these complex influences, providing a clearer picture of the origins and perpetuation of anti-gay sentiments in Uganda. By understanding the roots of these attitudes, we can better appreciate the challenges faced by the LGBTQ+ community and consider more informed approaches towards advocacy and change. Let's dive in. The legacy of British colonialism. Uganda's stringent stance against homosexuality is not just a product of its contemporary culture and politics, but is deeply rooted in its colonial history. When British colonizers established control over Uganda in the late 19th century, they introduced a set of legal and moral codes that were alien to the indigenous cultures of the region. One of the most impactful of these was the criminalization of same-sex relations. The British Penal Code of 1950, enforced widely across the empire, explicitly criminalized homosexual acts as carnal knowledge against the order of nature. This law was embedded into Uganda's own penal code upon its adoption and has remained largely unchanged since. This colonial legacy has perpetuated a legal and social environment where LGBTQ+ individuals face significant persecution and legal challenges. The difficulty in changing attitudes towards sexuality in Uganda involves both holding on to old colonial-era laws and shaping a new national identity after independence in 1962. Like other African countries, Uganda was trying to find and establish its own culture again. However, instead of dropping all old colonial rules, Uganda kept some, including the laws against homosexuality. This retention was, paradoxically, seen as a way of preserving societal norms and values, which many believed were being threatened by rapidly changing social structures and external influences. The irony here is that while striving to forge a post-colonial identity, there was a simultaneous clinging to a legal framework imposed by colonial rule, underpinning it with a renewed cultural and moral justification. The role of religion. In Uganda, religion is a cornerstone of daily life and a powerful influence on societal norms and laws. The majority of the population identifies as Christian, with a significant number adhering to evangelical and Pentecostal denominations. These religious groups often promote a literal interpretation of biblical texts, where homosexuality is viewed as morally reprehensible and contrary to God's design. Religious leaders, who are highly respected in their communities, frequently preach against homosexuality, reinforcing negative attitudes and sometimes advocating for strict legal measures against the LGBTQ+ community. The influence of religion extends beyond Christianity. Islam is also practiced in Uganda, and it similarly espouses conservative views on homosexuality. The combined weight of these religious teachings makes it challenging to shift perceptions and promote inclusivity within communities tightly bound by faith. Traditional values and social norms. In Uganda, cultural expectations focus heavily on traditional family setups and gender roles centered around heterosexual marriage and having children. Homosexuality is viewed as a direct threat to these core values. In this setting, being LGBTQ+ isn't just seen as going against traditional ideas of sex and marriage, but also as something that disrupts the continuity of the community and family lines. Traditional leaders, who are key in maintaining cultural norms, often back laws against homosexuality, seeing them as essential for keeping the moral standards of society. These leaders play a big role in shaping how the community feels, and their support for anti-gay views has a strong impact on public opinion. Political utilization of anti-gay rhetoric. In Uganda, political leaders often use social issues to gain public support or distract from other serious problems, like economic troubles, corruption, and issues with governance. Anti-gay rhetoric is a powerful tool for this. It lets politicians appeal to conservative supporters by presenting themselves as protectors of traditional values against what they see as Western moral decline. For example, Uganda's president called homosexuality disgusting in a CNN interview, showing strong opposition to LGBTQ+ rights at high government levels and reinforcing the idea that such attitudes defend Ugandan morals and culture. This approach also helps distract from government shortcomings. By focusing public attention on fighting LGBTQ+ rights, other troubling issues can be briefly pushed aside. This strategy is common globally, where controversial issues are used to strengthen political power. Additionally, there is a strong sense of nationalism and anti-Western feeling linked to Uganda's anti-gay laws. When Western nations criticize Uganda's stance on LGBTQ+ rights, it often leads to a defiant reaction from Ugandan leaders and some of the public. These leaders argue that resisting Western influence is crucial to protect national values and independence. This resistance is fueled by historical grievances and a general suspicion of neo-colonialism. Many Ugandans remain wary of Western interventions, whether economic, political, or cultural, seeing them as a continuation of past exploitation and control. Defending anti-gay laws is not just about cultural or moral choices, but also a symbol of national pride and resistance to external control. Economic implications and international aid. The economic factors connected to Uganda's anti-gay laws are complex and multifaceted. On one hand, the country faces potential economic repercussions in the form of sanctions or cuts in international aid from countries and organizations advocating for LGBTQ+ rights. Such punitive measures can affect various sectors, including healthcare, education, and development projects that significantly benefit the general populace. On the other hand, there is a counter-narrative that such sanctions are examples of Western coercion, which can lead to increased local support for the government's stance as a fight for sovereignty. Furthermore, some international donors and conservative groups provide financial support to organizations and political entities in Uganda that uphold anti-gay laws, creating an economic incentive to maintain these laws. Economic uncertainty. Economic troubles often worsen social tensions and lead to blaming marginalized groups. In Uganda, where economic issues are common, the LGBTQ+ community often gets unfairly blamed. Here's why economic problems can stir up anti-gay feelings. When people struggle with things like unemployment, rising prices, and poor services, they need to direct their frustration somewhere. Sadly, marginalized groups like the LGBTQ+ community are frequently targeted. In Uganda, they are sometimes falsely seen as the cause of social and economic issues. Political leaders add to this by suggesting that homosexuality leads to moral and social decline, which they claim weakens the nation's prosperity. This blame game acts as a distraction from the real economic problems, such as bad economic policies, corruption, and poor resource management. By steering public anger towards the LGBTQ+ community, political leaders shift attention away from their own failures in managing the economy. While examining the stringent anti-gay laws and widespread homophobia in Uganda, it's crucial to affirm the inherent dignity and worth of every individual, including the LGBTQ+ community. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being LGBTQ+. Love and identity are natural and should be celebrated. Uganda's resistance to LGBTQ+ rights reflects deep-rooted historical, cultural, and political influences. These factors highlight a need for evolution toward embracing human rights for all. The current laws are harsh and inhumane, leading us to hope for a future where inclusivity and justice prevail. Everyone deserves to live in a society where they are treated with respect and equality. We stand in solidarity with the LGBTQ+ community in Uganda, advocating for legal reforms and greater acceptance. Change is challenging but possible with perseverance and compassion. Let's hold on to hope for a more inclusive Uganda, where the rights of all citizens, including LGBTQ+ individuals, are upheld. Through understanding and persistent advocacy, we can pave the way toward a brighter, more equal future. Thank you for watching. And remember to always be true to yourself, in case nobody has told you today. I love you and I believe in you.